Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Morning Intentions. Today is Thursday, February 19th. We're continuing on with our week of guilt. I'm trying to say that with a smile on my face because it can feel pretty heavy when we feel guilty, whether it's for healthy guilt reasons or for false guilt reasons.
Oh my gosh, have I ever been in false guilt? A lot.
So you're noticing based on our last couple of days of our reflection questions, checking in, is this healthy guilt? Is this false guilt? Is this a touch of both? You've noticed that you're in false guilt a lot.
I think there's a touch of both, but I also would say I probably lean toward, when you look at my whole life, a lot of false guilt, because that sense of belonging and worrying that I didn't meet somebody else's expectations or I've disappointed them, or that's probably where I have spent 90% of my guilt time.
90%.
I think false guilt is pretty much where most of us go. As a coach, I see it, that people will be beating themselves up about something. It typically is because they believe that they are not meeting someone else's expectations. I think this is really more prevalent than maybe we realize until we start differentiating between the two, because we can just say, oh, I feel guilty. I don't ever want to say we don't want to have guilt, because there is healthy guilt. Sometimes we have not lived up to our own values, and we need to. That's our responsibility. So, Ada, I started out yesterday with a healthy guilt story, and then we kind of got into, well, we could almost see both parts, healthy guilt, false guilt in that. I would love you to share your experience with what I was thinking about as false guilt. And you said that might get a little nuanced as well.
Yes, we were talking about the time when I called you very early in the morning on a day you thought you were going to be able to sleep in. We had worked late the night before.
Let's set that up a little differently, though.
Well, we had worked late the night before.
Really late, like 11:30, close to midnight late.
And we had thought, let's work late since we get to have a little more time for rest in the morning. Had we not had time for rest in the morning, we never would have worked that late.
So we planned around the working late.
Yes.
We planned around the working late. Now we get to sleep in so that we get enough sleep that we can show up decently the next day.
So I get up like normal and call you and say, where are you at? And I got this. Why are you calling me? It's 6:15. Of course I'm going to call you. It's 6:15. Then you let me know. You informed me. You're not supposed to be calling me now.
You're not supposed to call me until 8:15.
Yeah, so there was a huge difference in time. I got up. I actually thought I was late. And so I jumped out of bed. I forgot we had changed the time. I was kind of sleepy, What time is it? Oh my gosh, I got to go. I'm going to be late. That's how it happened to me. I looked at my clock radio with its little glowing numbers in the middle of the night. Oh my goodness, I gotta go. And then I called you. So in that situation, I felt bad. To me, I violated my own values. And I think I caused harm. That's where I was coming with my sense of guilt. Of course, I woke you up early. You couldn't go back to sleep. That's harm I didn't want to cause. I try to be responsible and call people on time. So there were some values violated, harm caused. And then I don't really think there's false guilt for me, though you have said I wasn't upset with you. I was upset with the situation.
I could see both. Again, this is a great discussion that we're having, because maybe it's not so simplistic. Maybe it's not so cut and dried, so we can see whether it's healthy or false. So the healthy guilt part, where I think, well, that could fit at the beginning, where you say, I didn't change my alarm. I didn't think back about when we had agreed. So Ada and I, because we both have other things going on, and then we kind of meet and we decide how we're going to handle the day. And we have this little routine that we do. And we like to do that with a phone call so that we're both on the same page. So you would say, well, you didn't change your alarm. you didn't remember when we were going to have our meeting call. So you would say, well, to me, healthy guilt is appropriate in that because you didn't take responsibility and you did cause somebody harm. But where the false guilt came in, you said, oh, I'm so sorry. And then, 3 days later, you said, oh, I just feel so bad that I did that. And then like a week later, you would say, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And I said from the beginning, I realize people make mistakes. I was disappointed. That made it a hard morning for me, but I wasn't ever mad at you. And I also wouldn't want that to be something that you continually beat yourself up over. Healthy guilt isn't, I am bad. Healthy guilt is, I didn't handle this the way I would want to handle it. False guilt is where we get into ruminating over it and, I did this and
I definitely got into the identity part. I'm bad. Look how horrible I did. I woke my mom up
and you did
early
that,
in the morning.
Even though from the very beginning, I didn't say Ada, my gosh, you're so irresponsible. I mean, I didn't say any of that.
How could you do this to me?
Okay, so
you didn't say any of that.
No, I didn't, and I wouldn't. But you hung on to it. And the reason I thought this would be a good example to share is I believe with false guilt, we hang on to it and hang on to it and kind of make it our identity. Where healthy guilt, we point to the situation, we rectify it in some way, make an apology, do whatever, it's done. But false guilt, we just hang on to it. And I think that's kind of a marker for false guilt.
I'd say that's a very accurate marker.
The reason I thought this would be a good example is you were still ruminating on it like a day ago.
I was just going to say that. That is so true. Even when I say, sayonara, I'll see you later to you after our work day is through, I say, you call me. I'm never calling you in the morning again. You call me. I won't be calling you. Just in the morning anyway. So I still oh man, I feel awful about doing that. Probably because we touch on the subject almost daily, at least 5 days a week.
You mean we do that same action where we call and have our meeting?
Exactly. So we still do that. We didn't give that up. But I say, you're going to call me. I'm never calling you for that again. Because if you call me, I should be up already. And if I'm still sleeping, that means I'm late. So definitely call me.
Well, see, false guilt, we mentioned the other day that it's not resolved after an apology. You did apologize.
No, it didn't feel resolved for me at all.
And that's false guilt. We have to think about this. If we stay with it and we say, I apologized, and then I let that go. I don't even think about it. But you hung on to it and you're still hanging on to it. And that's where it becomes more identity based. And that's what we have to work on and think about. Am I in healthy guilt at this point? Or have I moved over to false guilt? And the false guilt takes more attention on our part in terms of healing it because we can't let it go. It's more vague. It's more, I'm irresponsible, or I'm bad, or I've disappointed you. That clarity is important. So as a listener, if you're thinking about times where you've had healthy guilt, you violated your own values, you apologized, you took some action, you were able to move on, healthy guilt. We don't want to do away with guilt because there's healthy guilt. But then if there's other situations or times where you hang on to it, and even if you do apologize, even if things have moved on, it stays with you, well, that would be false guilt because you're going into this more identity-based that you're bad, as opposed to I could have handled this better, or I did something that I regret and I've apologized and now I'm moving on.
So our intention for today is, I will recognize when I'm going into false guilt. I will recognize when I'm going into false guilt. Because false guilt is not healthy guilt, and false guilt is also not healthy. That's how we'll know. It eats away at us, as Annette's saying. And boy, has it eaten away at me in my life. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.